All right, so let's go and get started. So some different things. I did a webinar last Friday, and we were asked on how to use some of our different modify features here. Okay, so how do you subtract, crop, divide, all this? All right, no problem, Tony. Glad I could help. So I wanted to go ahead and do create a design today that's going to kind of go over some of these features here, so you guys can see when we can use those different types of those different modify tools that we have here in the Designer Edition software. All right, so I know you guys seen the split designs, pretty popular. I just want to go ahead and create something with, a nice, we'll go ahead and use a letter and then put a banner in the middle with your team logo. Something simple that, probably you've seen before, but there's a couple different steps in there that I want to show you guys, some different tricks, and also how to use some of the different modified tools, all right? So it's going to be a pretty cool webinar again, and also we're going to create a pretty cool looking rhinestone design here in this business edition. Also working with our TrueType fonts that we have. So if you guys never worked with Rhinestone TrueType fonts, it's going to be a pretty helpful webinar as well for you guys. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. So first things first, let's go ahead and type out a letter. So I'm going to go ahead and just go through the design real quick, and then we'll go back over it, and then I'm going to have you guys choose the letter and the actual team name. So what we want to accomplish first is we're basically going to type out our letter. So when I have, let's say, the letter A here, and let's go ahead and change our font. So again, I'm going to go kind of quick through it so you guys can see the final result, and then I'll have you guys kind of choose your custom letters, all right? So let's go ahead and choose the letter A here, and I can go ahead and just make this bigger because this is going to be the main part of the design. Obviously, you want to make sure that the letter stands out. So again, just go ahead and increase the size. Now notice on the left-hand side here we have our height, and on the bottom here we have the width. So that's going to let us know if we're going too far up or too far down on our design. So we can go about 9.2 is good there. Now let's go and change to our font. Now notice I double click on the letter here and then highlight the letter, come over to my text style window here. I can type in, let's say, college black, double click on the college black there, and there it is. So there's my font that I want to work with. Now I can go ahead and just change it a little bit, just change the width of it. And also you notice now that the actual dimensions changed as well, so let's go ahead and just increase it again, and there we go. So we're all set there. All right. Now I want to give this letter a cool looking effect. So we're going to give it a nice, almost like a trim here in the middle, and then have another outline on the outside. So again, we've been using that kind of style design quite often in the Corel Draw and Stone Wizard, but we haven't really shown it yet in Designer Edition. So I just want to show you guys exactly how we're going to accomplish that. All right, so very quick, we're going to go over here, and we're going to go with my offset window. So offset window is going to allow me to create an outline or another layer for this object here that we have selected. So hit offset, and there it is. There's my new layer or my new outline. Now I can change the offset based on the distance here, or I can also change it by typing in my new a new number here in the inches box. Another thing I want to look at, notice how my angles here or my corners are still rounded, but the middle, the main design is a nice sharp edges there, nice sharp corners. So what we want to do is I want to go over here to where it says corner, click on that, and now look at this. Now we have nice sharp corners rounded than the rounded corners here. All right, so let's just go ahead and increase that. So it says 0.125. Notice if I go to the distance, it's going to be a little bit too much, and I kind of want to keep it at a certain distance. So let's go, I think we had a 0.125, so let's go 1.5 and see what that does. So a little bit larger, so let's just go a little bit more to 0.1. There we go, so that's good. Now let's go ahead and click on this one. So now I'm clicking on the outside, the new one that we just created, okay? I'm going to click on the new one that we just created, and we're going to go ahead and hit another offset. So create another offset. Let's go ahead and change this just to maybe 0.150. All right, so there it is. So now what we have here is 3 different layers, okay? So we have our main layer that we started off with, and we're going to go ahead and change the colors as we go so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So here's our main layer. We'll change that to blue. We have our second layer here. All right, so the second layer right here, and we're going to go ahead and change that to, let's go ahead and change that to red. And then finally we have our last layer down here, which is the last one we created, and we're going to go ahead and just create that and make that into a, let's go ahead and make it pink. All right, so let me go ahead and zoom in here and show you exactly what we're going to do. So we have 3 layers now. Okay, so we just created 3 layers, and ultimately what we're trying to do is get rid of this middle layer here. All right, so how do we do that? Pretty simple. So I'm first going to select the first layer here, so the red layer. All right. Now, whenever you see me moving a letter or an object around and you see it go back, all I'm doing is hitting Control Z as in zebra, okay? And that's undoing what I just did. So now I'm able to go select the red, again, select that red, and I'm going to hold shift and select the pink. All right, so let me go ahead and zoom out real quick here. And now look at, all I have now selected is these 2 layers. So the 2 outer, or the 2 back layers, and we still have our original A here still not selected. All right, so Control Z to go back. Now I want to go to my modify window here. So here's our modify window. Let's go ahead and zoom in and show you exactly what's going to happen when I go. Okay, so I still have the 2 layers selected. Now I'm going to select subtract. All right, and look what happens. Hit subtract, bam. That layer now is gone. You see that? Now we only have 2 layers left over. Now I do see something a little bit weird going on down here that we can probably get rid of. So let's go ahead and zoom in here, and let's go double click and see what happens here. We have some extra kind of lines going off the side here. If you guys want to get rid of, let's go ahead and get rid of those if you want, or for the time being we can just leave it there for right now. But yeah, with changing the nodes up, or excuse me, the points, you can delete those little those lines off of there. All right. So now that part of the design is complete. So let's go ahead and highlight it all. We'll go ahead and make it all blue. So now we have that. Right click. So I just right clicked on the design because I have both selected. I can go hit here group. Now I can move those 2 around like so. All right. So there's the first part of the design. Now we can go ahead and use something under file. And if you go to library right here, we have some different designs that come with the Designer Edition software. So we have some different designs here, and right here we have a banner. So we can technically double click on this banner here and bring this right into our screen like so. And now we have a banner that we can work with, or we can go and create our own banner if we want to. All right. And I think for the time being, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and we'll just use this one for right now, but I think I got another one we can use for when we create a design for you guys. All right. When we'll have one of you guys select, choose a letter, and then we'll go ahead and post that one on the website. So real quick, we're going to go here. Now, what we want to do is make sure that we have the banner right here in the center, but we want to make sure that this right here is hollowed out. So how are we going to do that? All right, pretty simple. One thing I want to do first, right off the bat, I want to make sure I create another outline for this banner because I want to give it this look where it's almost a little bit of space in between the actual letter and the banner. All right, so to do that, we're going to go back to my offset window here, and we're just going to hit offset to the outside. There we go. So again, now we just create a new offset. So I can go ahead and delete my original one here, or I can just go Control Z back because we still want to work with this new layer we created here. All right, so if you just wanted to make it thicker, this is the way to do it. You can just go ahead and delete the original one. If you want to work with both of these and you just want to use the new layer to kind of give it that kind of open, let the shirt show through look there, then you need to leave it in there. Right, so what do we have here is we have 2 layers. So this one, I'm going to go ahead and select this layer here, and we'll make that one red for now. And then we have the new layer we created as well, which we can make yellow for now. So here it is, the McDonald's looking banner here we have. So what we want to do now is we're going to go back to our modify window, and what we want to use is our subtract all. All right. So let's go ahead and zoom in real quick and show you what we're going to do. So we're going to select the top layer, or the new layer we created, and then we're also going to select the A. All right. So let me go zoom out. We're going to go ahead and bring this up. So this is what we have selected here, right? Now we're going to go to subtract all. So subtract all. Now it doesn't look like anything happened, but if I go here and delete my yellow, so now look what happens. So now we have this nice line here, and of course we're going to change that offset when we create the ones that we're going to list on the website to make it look a little bit nicer. But what we have here is now we have the banner going through, but we still have this part of the A showing, which we don't want that because ultimately what we want to do is put a name inside this banner. All right. So how do we get rid of this inside here? Pretty simple. Let's go ahead and right click on our design. So again, because it's grouped together, I don't really have to select the whole A. I just have to select one part of the A here. Right click, and then we're going to go where it says ungroup. All right. So now that I ungrouped it, notice what I can do is I can come in here and delete each individual part of this design here. So there's my A, there's my banner going through. Now we can go ahead and add some text if you'd like. Just go ahead and type out, let's say, Avengers. And if you wanted to, I can come here and just drop it right into my banner if I like to as well. For some reason, this banner is not cooperating as well. It looks like the lines are a little bit weird here. But I can just go in here and just drop it in there if I like. We'll choose a different banner that works a little bit better as well. But I can drop that Avengers right in there, and then you have a cool looking 2-color design. All right, so let's go ahead and delete all this, and let's go ahead and create one for you guys. What do you guys think? What do you guys want to work with? What letter, what team name? First one to duplicate, I'll go ahead and create, all right? All right, so S Stallions. I like Stallions. That's a good one. Bulldogs. All right, Teresa. Bulldogs. Oh, all right. So we got Bulldogs and Bulldogs. So I guess Teresa and Debbie, you guys win. All right. So let's go ahead and see what's gonna happen if I type the. All right, no problem, Debbie. So let's go ahead and type out the letter B. All right. So we'll go ahead and type out the letter B. And again, you can work with any font. It doesn't just have to be the college black font, all right? So you guys can actually choose different fonts from your font library to work with here. All right, so we have the B selected. Let's go ahead and select college black, just because it's a nice thicker font. Looks good. We'll go ahead and select that. Gives it that athletic look to it as well. All right, so just decrease it just a tad bit here. And again, notice how it still looks nice, but we're just decreasing the width just because it's a little bit too thick for what we're trying to accomplish here. So we're gonna go ahead and just change the size of it again, so 8.83. Now, because I'm going to add a couple layers to it, you want to stay a little bit below the actual size that you want to end up with, because again, we're going to add a couple layers to this B here. All right, so we have here is our first letter, and we'll go ahead and make that B now, so that way we know what we're working with. All right, so what's going on here? Do we have something down here that's making this? Okay. So now what I want to do is, what do we do next? We still have to create we still have to do a couple things to this B before we can get going with the banner part of it. So what do we have to do first in order to get started? Don, when you're doing a T-shirt, how do you decide the size of the letter? Don, obviously first off you're gonna ask the customer, what size of design they want on the shirt. But normally, you want to keep it, depends on the shirt size. We always keep our designs below 9.5, but for the letters, obviously, probably, notice right here we have it at 5.0. Anywhere between that and 6 inches in width is good, but ultimately, I would say it's up to your customer, because it's such a unique design. It's very unique to that particular customer, because it's unique because you have, it's an individual letter that's going to be for that particular parent or that particular team. So it's really up to them to see how far down they want it on the shirt, or how big they want it on the shirt. All right, so I would definitely always recommend asking the customer before you actually try to create it, because sometimes they might not just want a big B on their shirt, and they might want it a little bit smaller. The great thing about working with a vector file like this is that once you create it, it's really up to you to increase the size or decrease it, and it won't matter, because you're able to cut out the vector design without having to worry about a certain size of stone like we do with the rhinestone designs. All right. So first things first, yes, Pam said it, offset. So we're going to do an offset to the outside here. So offset window, and we're going to go ahead and hit offset here. All right, now I'm going to have you guys kind of help me out with the sizing or the contour spacing, all right, or the offset spacing here. So right now we have, actually, let me go ahead and get rid of that because I clicked away from it. So we have our offset here. There's one thing we need to do, because right now it doesn't look right, all right? Again, we need to go down here to where it says corner, and we're going to select that feature there. Now we have a nice corner B there, so it looks still sharp. It looks exactly how the original B looks, all right? Now, exactly, there we go. Bill has it. Bill said we need to make another offset. So we're going to go right here, click our new layer that we created, and we're going to go back to our offset window here and just select offset. Now, what do you guys think for the outline here? Do you guys want a little bit thicker, a little bit thinner? What do you guys think looks best in this case? Thicker? Okay, Debbie. So we're going to go a little bit thicker, and you let me know where you want to stop, all right? So we'll go 0.170 for right now. All right, so there's a little bit thicker. What do you guys think? Thick? All right, Tasha thinks thick as well. Okay. So is that good? Nice? Okay. Good. Perfect. All right, so we'll leave that one as is, and let's just go ahead and color these in so you know exactly what we're working with here. So we'll create this one. We'll make let's go make that one pink, and then we'll make this one into a nice red. You know what? I keep choosing those colors, and it's not that easy to tell the difference. So let's go ahead and choose just a random orange. All right, so now we have 3 layers here. Perfect. So what's next? What do we have to do to be able to get rid of our pink layer right here in the middle? So we're trying to get rid of that layer here. What do we need to do next to accomplish that? Select the 2. Okay, perfect. Yep. So the 2 new ones that we created, we're going to go ahead and select. All right, so select the pink, shift, select orange. Now we only have those 2 selected. Exactly. Now Debbie's getting ahead of herself here. So Debbie said it. Exactly. We got to go to our modify window here, and we're going to select subtract. No problem. Hey, Debbie, that's what I like. I like the interaction. I like when you guys are all into the webinar. That's my favorite time to do these. All right. So, so now we have We subtracted the pink layer from the inside now, which gives us just 2 layers here. Now you notice here we have the inside of the bees are kind of still by themselves. Just go ahead and select the whole entire design here. Go ahead and right click, and you can even do a make compound path, and that's going to convert it all like this. So if you guys have ever worked with Corel Draw, that compound path is basically kind of almost doing like a combine on the design. All right, so there it is. There's our bee. Now, great thing is, look, even if you think it's too wide right here, we can still shrink it down some or expand it. Again, because it's a vector design, we got a lot of freedom to work with this particular design here. All right, so let's go ahead and bring a different banner in here, something a little bit nicer to work with. I'm gonna go ahead and I think I got one saved here that we can trace. So another cool thing I want to do for you guys is I want to show you how to do a couple of tracing tips here. So if you never traced before in Designer Edition, this is your chance to kind of get a first-hand view of how that is done. All right, so all I did, I had this banner here in my desktop ready. Notice right now, this is a PNG file. All right, so what does that mean? It means I can't send this to my cutter, and my cutter is going to recognize it as a cut file. So if I go to my cut settings over here, and I go to cut, notice what happens is the only thing that's selected is the outside here. So the black area on the inside, the actual banner that I want to create, it won't cut. All it's going to cut is this rectangle around it. All right, so a couple things we need to do first is let's go to our trace window at the top here. Oops, sorry guys, just had a little issue with my microphone here. Let me just get this fixed for you guys. I'll be right with you, all right? All right, sorry about that, guys. It looked like I had a couple issues there with my microphone. All right, but it looks like we're all, can everybody hear me now? All right, perfect. All right, awesome. Debbie, are PNG better than JPEG for tracing if we have the option? Debbie, it really depends on the JPEG normally works a little bit better. Just you're gonna be able to bring it in, it's gonna be a little bit better as far as the quality wise. But yeah, it just depends on the quality of the original image. So if it's very pixelated, it's not gonna trace as well. All right, but JPEGs normally do work a little bit better for the tracing. All right, so we got the banner here. We got our trace window open here. Now, right here it says select trace area. All right, so that's going to tell me just to basically create a box around the design or object I want to trace. So notice right here, see how if I bring this in right now, notice how if the line is very kind of curvy and it looks like it's pretty rough in there, the yellow line I'm talking about here. All right, so that tells me that this design was very pixelated. So once we brought it in, the trace tool is recognizing all those different curves and pixelation, and it's going to be basically read it, and then when it traces it, it's going to convert over to the vector file. But so we don't want that, all right? So how can we clean that design up? I'm going to go here to my Highpass filter, and I'm going to move my value to the right. And what that does is basically creates everything yellow here. Now this is all yellow. So this, when I hit trace now, it gives me a perfect outline of this object here, all right? So get rid of the PNG. Now all we have left is our nice little banner here. All right, so there's our vector file. Now I like it because I noticed the one from Silhouette was a little bit curvy as well. So this is almost a perfect straight line. It looks great. Now we can go ahead and utilize this to create our design here. So now we said we're going to use Bulldogs, correct? I'm going to go back a couple. Let me go ahead and scroll up a little bit right here. Yep, Bulldog. So we're going to use Bulldogs. So let's go ahead and create our banner part of this now. So what do we need to do now so we can ensure that we have the banner in the right location and we have the banner ready to basically convert the bee into a cool looking design. And the cool thing about the bee is I can put the banner right in between the two holes right here. So place it right in there. Now one thing you guys want to do, Don, ungroup the bee. We don't have to ungroup it yet, Don. We still need to do a couple things with the banner and before we have to ungroup the bee. All right. The one thing I do want to show you before we do anything is I'm gonna grab the banner. I'm gonna grab the bee here, and if I go to my align tool here, we can do some different things here. So we can align to center, and if I align to center, now this is perfectly centered. So now the banner and the bee are perfectly centered. I know it looks a little bit weird right here and here, just because we have the bee that goes all the way out to here. All right, so just because there's a little bit of space here and not as much here, doesn't mean that it's not centered. it just means that we have the B goes out a little bit more over here. All right, and Laura, yes, you are correct. Need to make an offset for the banner. Exactly, Laura. So we're gonna go grab our banner now. So let's go ahead and select away from it, grab our banner, and you know what? Let's go ahead and make it just a little bit smaller because again, because we're gonna create that offset, we might not have enough room when we create that. So align to center. All right, let's go ahead and move this down just a tad bit. All right, and I'm just using my arrow keys to do that. All right. All right, so we're good now. Let's go ahead and create our offset. So now that we have the banner exactly where we want it to go, let's go ahead and select the banner now. And I'm going to go up to the top to my offset window. We're going to hit offset, and there's our offset. So what do you guys think? Does that look nice there? Now, what do you guys think? I almost think we should leave the banner how it is like this, and then create another offset on the outside. So leave the banner as a 2-color or almost like a 2-line banner there. What do you guys think? Or just leave it how it is and just kind of take out the backing here. All right, so either, yeah. All right, so let's just leave it like this then. Let's just leave it like this and go from there. So we're going to select the top layer, the new layer that we created here in the back. We're going to select that, and we're going to select the B. Now, what do we need to do now? This is the big step here. So what do we need to do in order to be able to trace or make this the back layer go through the B? Okay, perfect. Yep. Modify window, and then where do we go? Where do we have to go next? Exactly. There you go. Builds on top of things here. So subtract all. So we're gonna go ahead and hit subtract all, and there it is. There's our subtract all. Now we can take this part out, or we can take this part out. But let's go ahead and take that back one off there. And let me see what happened here. So yeah, actually subtract all just took it out, and there it is. So here is our banner. Now one thing we can do with our banner here, if we wanted to. And again, I think I'm going to go ahead and do the double line when I put it on the website just because it's going to look a little bit better. All right. So because we did this right here, now I can go ahead and type out my Bulldogs. All right. So now I'm at Bulldogs. Let's go ahead and choose our impact font for this time being now. So we're going to go here, select the Bulldogs, and we're going to go impact. All right. So now that we got impact, we're going to make this maybe blue. And then, again, because I double-click it, now I'm still in my edit text feature here. So if I click on the little box down here in the bottom left corner, I can come here and just drop it on my banner there. Notice how it's creating that nice little arch there. If I use my ruler key here on the left-hand side, I can move it up, I can move it down. So let's go ahead and center a little bit there. Perfect. So now all I have to do is I'm going to click away from it. And if I right-click on the Bulldogs and I hit Convert to Path, now I can go ahead and move the Bulldogs around. All right. If I don't do that, look what happens. So if I don't hit Convert to Path, I can't click on it. And notice how the back is gray as well because it's going with the banner. So I want to release the Bulldog from the banner. All right. And to do that, we're going to convert it to Path. And then we're going to go back to the banner as well. And we're going to go ahead and hit Weld. All right. So there's my banner now that you can see. We can make this red if you like. All right, so we'll make that red. And then what I can do is we can select the Bulldogs here. We're going to select the banner and then go back to modify. And you see what we're going to do here? Just hit a subtract. And there's Bulldogs in the middle. We got the Bulldogs, and then we got our banner in the inside there. So pretty cool, pretty easy to do something like that, especially once you start incorporating the text into the middle there with some nice arch or some nice different effects to it. So what do you guys think? Pretty simple to do? Absolutely, right, Debbie? So again, some different features there, some different steps. Great thing is we are recording it, so if you weren't able to get any of those, you guys can come back and watch the recorded version and still get the good information out of it. All right. So again, some different things you can do. You could have done to the actual banner. If we did create it with the outline around it, then I could have made that outline into a color, and then we could have left the Bulldogs, the vinyl part, inside. Some different things. You can play around with it and do some different things with it to give the design a different effect to it. So it's pretty cool what you can do with this Designer Edition software. No problem, Debbie. No problem at all. All right, so let's go ahead and get rid of this, and let's go ahead and create a Rhinestone design. What do you guys think? All right, so are you guys working with the Rhinestone feature in the Designer Edition software? Is that something you guys gotten into yet, or Have you guys not really working with rhinestones yet too much? Yes, Tony. I was just going to add yes. Okay. Nope, but would love to learn. Perfect, Tasha. Not yet. Yes, some. No. Okay. All right. So what I want to do is, like I said, we've created multi-deck designs with the rhinestones before, but nothing really like just a full rhinestone design here in Designer Edition software. So what I want to do is I want to show you kind of how to complete that and how we're going to send that to our cutter. All right. Cindy, not yet. Still intimidated by rhinestones. Okay. So the great thing about the Designer Edition is that it keeps everything very basic. So yes, you are limited to some certain things as far as what you can do with the designing process, but the great thing is it does allow you to do a lot of different things, but it keeps it very simple. So it's not going to overwhelm you too much when trying to learn some of the different features. So let's go ahead and show you the windows here. So we have a rhinestone window, and we have some different options. So we have edge, we have linear fill, we have radial fill. Right here in the middle, we have our rhinestone sizes. So we have 6, 10, 16, 20s. We have the spacing here. I'll show you what that does when we get to it. We also have the draw rhinestones. So here we have select, just to select each individual stone. We have a single click here. The single click is going to allow me to just basically left click and drop single stones around my page. If I click select again and then do freehand. Now if I left click down and drag, now that allows me to just basically create freehand kind of stencil around my workspace here. So there it is. And those are all the perfect SS10 size. So if I want to change the size of these, I can select that freehand that I just created there, go to 16s, and bam, there it is. Same thing with 20s. Now notice, it's still the same length for the design, but the spacing has changed and the number of stones has changed because the stone size actually changed, all right? So with that, rhinestone size, very easy to change. Once you're completed with the design, you're happy how it looks, then you can just hit release rhinestones, and that's going to release all your rhinestones there, all right? So pretty simple little overview there of the rhinestone window in Designer Edition, but it's pretty helpful, pretty useful, especially once you start learning how to do different tips and tricks to when designing with the rhinestones. No problem, Debbie. All right, so let's go ahead and so what can we do with this rhinestone window here? So again, we have a lot of basic tools here on the left-hand side that we can work with. So what we can do is, let's go ahead and create a box real quick. All right, so let's create a box. And what I want to do is basically fill this box out right here with rhinestones. All right, so I want to make this just one rectangle of rhinestones. And from there, we can go ahead and create our American flag. All right, so how do we do that? We can go up here, select our box that we just created, and we're going to go to linear fill. All right, so select linear fill here in the middle, and there it is. So there's my rhinestone rectangle here that we just created. For silhouette spacing, Susan, we still work with a 0.02 as we make all our designs with that 0.02 spacing between the stones. I mean, if you do need to increase the spacing, then you're more than welcome to. But the designs that we have on the website are all 0.02 for the most part. So if you think that's cutting correctly, then go ahead and use that. All right. Oh, but you're saying in the spacing here? Normally for the 0.039, once it sets the stones, it's usually pretty good spacing in between them. I'm sorry, Susan, I just realized what you were talking about. But yeah, normally that 0.039 is pretty good. But again, it just really depends. If you notice that there's some spaces that you need to fill in, sometimes by changing the spacing, it normally fixes that issue for you. So just play around with it, just kind of get a better understanding. What I would do is just create a little circle kind of over here in the corner. Just do a quick little radial fill. So you can come here, do a radial fill, and see if that's the correct spacing for it. And then just keep changing it around, just something very small that you won't waste material when you create it, all right? So just something very tiny, just even when you're doing your test cuts, and just play around with the different settings for the spacing there. All right, so here's our box. Now, notice if I click on one individual stone here, notice how it moves the whole entire box. The reason for that is because we still need to release this box here, all right? We still need to release the stones so we can actually do and edit this particular design here that we're trying to create, all right? So what are we going to do? We're going to go down here to the release rhinestones, left click on that, and that's basically just going to release all my rhinestones like we did there. All right, so now what can we do? I can go ahead and highlight my design. I can right click. You know what, actually let's do that at the end. So let's go ahead and just start changing the colors now. So what I can do is I can basically create a box here now. So I can create a box. Now the great thing about the Designer Edition, notice that you don't actually have to go all the way through, or excuse me, all the way around the circles. If I even touch the circle, it's going to select it, all right? So I can come like right up to this line right here, and notice how it's not the outside box, but the actual kind of the our gray lines right here, the separated lines there, those are going to be, that's going to kind of tell you what's selected. All right, so here we have just this area right here selected, so I can come up here to the top to my fill color window, and let's give it a nice blue color there. So there it is. So there is the beginning to my American flag. Now it looks like it might be a little bit high there, so if you want to just change it, again, you don't even have to create a box around the circles as long as it's touching the circles. All right, so select blue, there we go. And then, and again, because you can adjust it so easily, we can keep going back and forth and fixing it up so it looks really good. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to make sure that the stripes are nice and thick so it stands out. So we'll go ahead and use 2 rows for this. All right, so we can go here and just select our first stripes here, and then we'll go ahead and make that red, and we can go down and so on all the way to reach the end point there. Now I don't think we're gonna be able to get it to the 13 stripes there, but because it's a smaller flag that we're working with, so but it's still gonna look pretty cool. So we're gonna see what we can do here. So now we're gonna go down here to the bottom part here, and we're gonna make that red, and then we're gonna go ahead and just finish it off here at this side over here. All right, so make that red. All right, so we're gonna go count down 2, and then we're gonna go ahead and create this line here as well. Make that red, and then again, all we're doing is just keep going down our box here and changing the colors. So very simple. Now we have an extra one down here. You can keep creating more stripes if you want. If you think that's good right there, then just go ahead and get rid of this row. So there it is. So there's our nice little flag. We can zoom out to see it a little bit better if you want. If you think it's the box here, the blue box is too much, we can come here and change this row right here to red. So there it is. So now we have the entire flag. So what do you guys think? Keep that how it was, or you guys want to keep it like that? Blue. Okay, yeah, I thought so too. Once I took it off, it looked a little bit different. It looked a little bit weird. I'm sorry. So we're going to make that blue. All right, and now we can go in here and basically just fill in our rhinestones that are going to act as our stars. So what we can do is basically use this inner square here. So this inside square. So we can go start here. And now what I can do is I can hold shift and basically click on every single stone we have here. All right, so I'm going to click on every other stone. And then what I can do from there is let's just go ahead and make that black for now. All right, so we'll make that black, and let's go ahead and go to row down. So again, just basically changing or skipping a row. We're going to skip a stone here. So skip 1, and we're going to just keep going here, and we're going to go here, and then So all we're doing is basically just selecting our different stones here, and we're going to change the color of those to black for the time being. All right, and then at the end we'll be able to change all those colors to white. Did you control to select? No, I'm holding shift to select. So I select one of my stones, and then I hold shift, and then I can go ahead and select other stones as well. So, and this works with objects. So it's not just has to be rhinestones, it also works with objects that you can select one, and then by holding shift, keep selecting more than just one. All right, and then finally we'll go down here and finish it off here. So again, every other stone. And you can see how easy it is, even with just creating a box. I mean, it's pretty impressive what you can accomplish. And I think I skipped one here because it's not right. All right, so let's go back and just restart this one. So again, very simple to just create a cool looking design just by creating a box and then utilizing the different tools in the Designer Edition software. So it's not something that we traced. It's basic. Oh man, this is not cooperating with me. We're almost done here, and then it just does not want to cooperate. All right, so here we go. I think we got it now. All right, so we got all those in. Let's go ahead and select the black. Perfect. So now we got our stars. We got our stripes. I still think we need to add a little bit of something different, huh? Will this be like a 3-color design? It will. So we'll have the blue, the red, and the white right here, Don. So yes, this is going to be a 3-color design. But you know what? This is not enough. I think we need a little bit of something extra for this design. So we got a flag, cool. But let's just, we're Americans, so let's tell them. So what we can do is we can type out. Let's go ahead and type out America real quick. So we'll type out America. And now I know a couple different fonts I can use that's going to look pretty cool with this particular design. So I know I had the TRW, I believe it's 135. All right, so the TRW 135, and there it is. So this is a Rhinestone font, TrueType font. Notice I was able to type out my letters. So I typed out America, chose my font, and there it is. So there is my font. Now, here's the big thing. With the Rhinestone fonts, it has to be a specific size Otherwise, the stones aren't going to fit in there correctly. All right. So just because I converted it and it's 4.786, it doesn't mean that that's the size it's going to be when you cut it out, because we still have to do a couple things to this font right here to make it work with this template. All right. And with our rhinestones. So what are we going to do? I'm going to go ahead and bring in our mock-up that we have of this particular design here. So here is a mock-up of our TrueType fonts. All right. So in this mock-up, it tells you a couple of different things. The first thing is you'll see right off the bat is the alphabet. So the alphabet here, it's going to tell me it comes with just the uppercase letters, and it's also going to come the numbers from 1 to 0. On the right-hand side of that, we see that we have the boxes here in pink. So we have our RF version, which is basically what you see here, where I can type it out, and it doesn't have any boxes, any weed boxes around my letters. All right. Now, if I bring in my SF style fonts here, so if I type it as an SF, which is normally lowercase in this particular case, then it's going to come out with the boxes around them. Now, the benefit of that is you're able to cut out each individual letter. So if you have a name that's more random and it's not something you're going to quite use frequently, then this probably your best bet is cut out individual letters so you can actually spell it out. And then that way you don't create one template and waste a template, a 9-inch template material on just one name that you'll never use again. So depending on how custom it is that the text or the word or the name that you're working with, you might want to look into doing the RF or the SF style instead, because it already comes with the boxes around it, and you can customize and then just peel all the letters away, put them back on your backing, and now you can use those for a later name, to create another name, but you don't have just a template now sitting there that you'll never use again. All right, so the SF fonts, the TrueType fonts are very useful, but the great thing about it is also at the bottom here, we have where it says point in program, okay? Point size in program. So that's going to work for every program you're working with. Corel, if you're working in Designer Edition, and so on, your AI program, anything you're working with, this is going to work for. So SS10, it tells me 101 or 111 point size, all right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the Silhouette Designer Edition here, and we're going to type in where it says text size right here. We're going to type in 111, hit enter. Now this is going to be the correct size for my SS10 stones, and just happens to be, it fits perfect on around this design right here. But you know what, it's going to be too, let's go ahead and add a little bit of more of an arc to it. What do you guys think? So we're going to create a little bit of arc design here, almost like let's get an ellipse tool here. And what I can do is basically just create an ellipse, and now I can put this text on my ellipse here and give it a nice little arc kind of look to the design. So it's not just so plain, just a plain text going straight across. Now we have a little bit more depth to the design. Tasha, I did see a question coming in. Would you recommend pre-cutting the alphabet and using the letters when you need them? Yes, Tasha, and that's kind of what I was referring to. So what you can do, the great thing you can do with them, with those letters, Tasha, is basically, put them in a safe place, go to the event, or, if you're at a football game, baseball game, and you're working a tent, and the customers come up to you and they want a custom name, then you have all your letters already cut out already. So, cut out the whole entire alphabet and cut it multiple times as well, because what happens is, especially if it's letters that you're going to be using quite often, let's say you have, like, my last name has 3 R's in it, all right? You can't just cut out one alphabet, 1 R to be able to create that. So you would have to, cut out 3 different R's in order for you to be able to complete my last name, all right? So that's another thing you got to look into, the letters that you're going to be using multiple of. All right, so here is our path right here. So first thing we want to do is we're going to go ahead and go to our text. Now, because I really haven't done anything yet as far as the compound path yet, I'm still able to move this around and double click on it and still go to my text feature. So I can still edit this particular text here if I double click on it, all right? I think my freezing up on me here, but see how if I double click on it, we have our green box around it. Now that green box, that tells me we are in edit form now. So edit form means I can grab my little arrow keys here, and I can drag to a path, and it's gonna basically place it right on there for me. So we'll drop it right in there. Click away. Now again, if I right click on the America and I do convert to path, now I can go ahead and delete my original ellipse that I created there. So there's America. If you want to move it around a little bit, you can. This little green circle at the top right here allows me to kind of move it around off the center point there. So I can go ahead and kind of move it. If you think it's a little bit off, you can move it around. So we can go here, place America. Oh, I think we're a little bit off there. So again, just move it around if you want. But looks like we should be good there. Now we need to do a couple of different things. Because we're still under text, the text format, we still need to convert it into a vector format. So when we send it to the cutter, it's going to recognize those circles there as rhinestones. And then it's going to be able to cut out the template for you. So what are we going to do? We need to first do one thing. We're going to go right click. All right, right click and hit ungroup. All right, so right click on group. Now you notice it created a box around each individual letter. All right, now don't click away from it because then you're gonna have to go each individual letter. But because they're still highlighted, right click again, and then we're gonna hit release compound path. All right, so now if I click on each individual circle, it tells me 0.129, 0.129. So what does that mean? Perfect size for an SS10 stone. All right, so there's our America, there's our flag,